sessions. Our first panel is e-commerce for brands. It will be moderated by Rita Makhoul, managing editor of ArabNet.
Hey, I hope you guys are all nice and full from lunch and everything, but I hope nobody's in a food coma, or at least we'll wake you up from it, or we'll try to. I'd like you to help me welcome on stage 3 very fine panelists. First of all, Noor Al-Masri. She's Regional Digital Media Director at Sayyidati, and she's launched the Sayyidati Mall as well. Mansour Salami from Facebook. Thank you. He's the Client Solutions Manager of Retail and E-commerce in the MENA region. And last but not least, and with the most difficult name for me today, is Stani Brune. I try, please correct me when you get up here. Senior Director of Performance at OMD. And I promise we will try our very best to speak as loud as we can and as close to the microphones as possible. So you need to come like really close to the microphone. Or at least anytime we're talking, if we can just make that extra effort, please. All right, we've got quite a lot to cover, so we're gonna just jump right into it. And Shad, do you mind if I ask if you can close the door? Thank you. All right. Maybe a bit weird or anything, but I do want to start off with defining what e-commerce is. Can I have you start with that, Stanley?
Yes, so first I want to start off with like the definition of e-commerce. So quite often I do understand, like in people's minds, e-commerce is all about selling a product. Actually, e-commerce is not only selling a product, but it's selling a service as well. So we've got companies such as Souk or Namshi that are selling products, but then into the game of e-commerce, you've got as well Uber, Netflix, that are selling services, or even travel, I would say companies such as Jumeirah or Booking that are as well selling a service of providing you a flight ticket or a hotel room. So that's the main definition I want to bring into the panel. E-commerce is not only selling a product.
So I believe there is different definitions. It's good that we set up the context right now because I think this is something people talk about a lot. They usually associate e-commerce with people selling products, physical products. It's really important that we do make this one clear. Like in Facebook, for example, we categorize companies that offer services and products online by e-commerce, and here we talk about companies that sell physical merchandise, especially e-tailers, and digital native services as the rest of the companies, the likes of Careem, the likes of OLX, who sell other services. So I think one point here that we need to differentiate as well is companies that do not sell a specific product for an amount that they will get directly from the end user. People who capitalize on arbitrage, let's say the likes of OLX, Classifieds, Property Finder. Let's make sure that when we talk, we agree whether do we need to talk about these companies as well or not. In this context, I don't think so. We're talking about only companies who are selling an end service for an end user and receiving the money from the end user.
Okay, I will just add, when it comes to products, we hear that brands and retail groups, they're going to e-commerce. For us, e-commerce is not just a website you launch for yourself, it's you're selling online, whether it's on your website or whether it's on other platforms, marketplaces. So establishing an e-commerce identity or entity, it doesn't mean only creating your own e-commerce website.
Excellent. So it's not just a matter of what service or product I'm selling or providing, but we also have to define the fact that it's not just an e-commerce website. It could be a social media platform. It could be on a marketplace. As long as you're online, and you're selling online, we call that e-commerce. It could be via an app or desktop website or anything of this sort. Are we all in agreement on this?
I think so.
All aligned.
Excellent. So now if we look at the current e-commerce market across the region, and we all know about the Amazon acquisition of Souk, Labbar just acquired Jado Pado, and we know they're planning on launching the $1 billion e-commerce website, which is noon.com. And today we're talking to brands and trying to convince them on going onto e-commerce, going online and start selling online. Why are we doing that? Why should brands shift to e-commerce? Or not just shift, like include e-commerce into their strategy?
I don't think this is a must at the moment. So if we look at the stats right now, probably if we calculate all digital sales, 5% are getting of merchandise or services are getting sold online, and around 95% are still inside the store. Having said that as well, eMarketed have published some pretty interesting stats on digitally influenced sales inside the store. So more than 50% of sales that are happening inside the store are influenced by a digital media. So I think the first step will be how to optimize your digital experience in order to push sales more in the store, because this is the low-hanging fruit. The second point, in my opinion, will be to use the existing marketplaces and see the return on investment that you get out of them, get as much learning as you can get. If you want to start with that, then it will be a minimal viable product that you can test the market with. If you see things are progressing even faster in terms of profitability or volume or market share, then go for it. The answer is not to build an e-commerce. The answer is to see what's working for you. At the end of the day, you need to create profit, not be in e-commerce. If your market is there, then yes, it works for you. If not, then you need to find other alternatives.
Based on the retail groups and the designers, the brands, small or big, that we have met, each one, they gave their own opinion, why they want to launch their own e-commerce website, or they don't want to, or they work with us now or going to later. Why to launch an e-commerce website? Because statistics speak that people are buying more online, and the percentages increase every month rapidly, especially in Saudi Arabia and UAE. Also, statistically speaking, people are going less to malls. They are busier. They are fast. They like to get their information quick when it comes to content, and now they want their products quick. So you see different e-commerce websites are competing when it comes to the time you reach the product. So launching an e-commerce website is a necessity if it's good for you, as Mansour said. If you're a new brand or a new designer, you need to be there if you want to reach the millenniums and you want to increase awareness and make people have a quick decision to purchase online.
Yeah, to add, first of all, to what Mansour said, obviously before e-commerce there is digital presence. So we know from like the Ipsos study Google has done that a brand that is like present online has influenced up to 60% a purchase decision of the end consumer. So while they are in store, they will be like looking, searching on digital to finally buy the product. So if you're not, first of all, present digitally, that's a missed opportunity. Second, when it comes to like e-commerce by itself, the market in 2016 was estimated at 40 billion. By 2020, we expect e-commerce to be at 80 billion in the region. So there is no reason why you shouldn't catch this opportunity.
So basically we're talking about the potential of the market, but not because what Mansour started off with. If I was a brand, I would have packed up and walked out of this meeting right away and know, why am I going to invest money on 5%? Like you're talking about, you said 5%.
Let me clarify. So what I mentioned, what I was trying to stress is that there are low-hanging fruits that you can seize the opportunity of. E-commerce might not be the right answer for you now, or maybe in the future, maybe for your type of products that you are selling, being available in marketplace is more profitable for you, right? So the answer is to find the right channels to be present where your customers are. So what companies are talking about and what they're thinking at the moment, the mindset is the right answer is e-commerce, but e-commerce is very tough. Amazon right now, from over 100 billions of revenue, are making 2 billion, which is really, really, really small, because there is lots of investments happening in research and development. Logistics is very tough to perfect it, and to catch up with this is very, very tough. So if now you're not ready for it, focus on the low-hanging fruit and study your way towards the online channel.
Okay, that would bring me to someone like Noor, for example. Sayyidati, why did you go into the e-commerce space?
Okay, that's my favorite question. Sayyidati, everybody knows Sayyidati. It's has been marked among, it's not among the top 10 websites in general in Saudi Arabia and MENA region. When it comes to lifestyle content among women websites, it's #1 in GCC. When saying #1, we're talking about unique users, visitors, behavior, and page views. And Sayyidati is a magazine that has an online platform and a strong social media platform, an app, an application, and it's all integrated together. That's why it got so much numbers, and we have a great team as well.
Hold her up to the team, they're here.
Yeah, she's taking a video. And based on that success with the team and with the work and using our current assets, we have wanted to start to introduce new revenue streams within Sayyidati as a publishing house, because we can see that people are longing to more information. So at the beginning, it was like the top trends of fashion, or what you need to buy right now, or what are the trends for this month, or what are the best beauty products for pigmentation, or what skincare products you need to use. I can give you many samples of content. People started saying, okay, we want the name of the brands. Are those brands available in my country? Where can I buy them? What kind of information? So we can see that engagement on social media and on web. And we came into two choices. Do we do an affiliate marketing where other global websites are doing? You see a link and the product and you go. Or do we establish our own? And then we decided we have gone so far already and we're going to start our own. So we've been working on 1 year and a half to integrate our current team. It starts with a print magazine, with a content team online from all our offices, where we use our very strong assets of content and integrate it with buying online. So Sayyidati Mall, it's a website that provides content that is linked through all our assets, whether sayyidati.net or aljamila.com, or even the men's website, sayyidi.net, where it not only gives content, but it also enables people to buy online. That's how we started. But the past 2 months and 3 months, we saw that we are strong enough to actually consider ourselves an official fashion and beauty marketplace. And we invested in a team. And it's working really well for us because we can see how strong Sayyidati brand is, and all that history and that pride that we have internally within Sayyidati is paying off. People are buying online and paying a lot of money because our products are...
Look at that smile, and they're paying a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see daily that really people are paying a lot of money. So don't be afraid. If you have a good product, a new designer, don't be afraid to venture there, and if you have good content, then you can sell online.
But did it affect your content? Like in the sense of, did you have to hire a special team to write special content for more promotional products? Doesn't your content come in as integrity? Like, you used to write about certain products before, but you're not selling them, so does it affect what you write?
No. What we have done is we kept our integrity, because users are very smart, and social media as well. So whenever there is any topic that has about buying online, the topic itself, it clearly explains that. We don't fish for clicks.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So this would take me to the next point right now. Like, say a brand comes to you. I've got a brand, I'm coming to you, I've got a business, and I'm considering making the move to e-commerce. What would your advice be for me? Would you tell me create your own e-commerce platform, integrate in something that's already there, and the pros and cons for each one of these options. Like, you made a choice there. You haven't told us the pros and cons and why you decided on those.
And maybe you have a question about that later.
I will get to that. Okay. So maybe Mansour or Stanley, you can help me on this question.
From my side, I think I answered for big businesses. I kind of answered the questions. What are the steps that I believe in it should go through in order to see what is the best optimal presence online as against the store? And you're talking about big businesses here or also small businesses?
We can discuss both, and I think it's important that we also define both.
I think it's more or less the same. For smaller businesses, it's even, I think, tougher to be in the e-commerce if they don't have the investment behind it, especially the media investment, because we all know that digital companies, e-commerce companies, will not be able to survive without media investment behind it. You need to push in traffic, you need to create traffic on your website, and this needs to be consistent as well. So for those who have the investment to be able to do it, then yes, by all means, but again, they need to be cautious. They need to look at other angles as well, not only media, logistics, how they are going to do the delivery, knowing that, for example, in UAE, it's a bit easier. In Saudi, logistics can be tedious and more expensive.
But isn't that the same as well if I incorporate or integrate within a current e-commerce platform?
Yes.
So it's going to have the same pain points?
Definitely. But then you have less investments.
Okay.
In terms of media, in terms of development of the website, development of the product. So you're kind of cutting your costs and selling through the existing marketplaces. So this will be the first step to go for.
So if they can afford it, create one on your own. If you can't, integrate within someone that's already exists and someone that's good.
Totally, and you have some other options as well. So recently at Facebook, we have for small businesses, we have launched the shop section at Facebook, where you can put the whole product catalog over there, showcasing the products that you sell, and people can actually buy from it directly. There are, I'm sure, other options with other channels where they can do this cheaply and promote their products. But it depends a lot on how much capital they have in order to venture into e-commerce.
It's also something that's going to be introduced in Instagram as well, isn't it?
We don't have visibility about this yet, but once we have, we'll definitely communicate.
Yeah, they said they're going to launch it end of the year.
Share with me this, the press release.
I'm still in media, so...
No, it's okay. Go ahead, by all means.
Yeah, I think I would be okay with Mansour. So if you cannot sustain and have enough sufficient funds to go by yourself on e-commerce, by all means, of course, utilize a ready-made e-commerce platform, but at least customize it so that it reflects your brand identity. This is really important. But second, I would say there are ready-made solutions available, such as the Magento or Shopify, which you can customize and it will reflect your brand. Because what's important moving forward in e-commerce is all about the data. So you should own your data and all of the data points that basically pertains to your consumers. Because short-term going e-commerce is short-term, but long-term you want to know more and more about your customers to be able to retarget or target them at different stages of their purchase life cycle. And the more you own the data, the better long-term.
But I would like to comment on that, because when we did our research, and whether it's with designers or with brands, we had this discussion. They want to own their own data. Why shall they go to a marketplace where we're the only entity who knows about the customer? And I understand that, but the thing is, owning your own data and making those customers costs a lot of money. So going back to your question, why to go to an e-commerce, going as an e-commerce, my only advice, if you have a lot of money and investment and a 5-year plan where you start making money after 3 to 5 years when you actually acquire that data, then yes, you can venture into that and based on it, optimize. But if you're planning to go to an e-commerce website as a brand that's new to the market, it's going to cost you so much money and you will not succeed. if you don't work within different entities and work on the content.
All
So
right.
it's not only, one answer for why to launch an e-commerce. It depends on you as a brand and a designer. How long have you been in the market? How many people find you? Do people search for your brand or designer online, and do they find you? How are you available on other media channels? Do people know you? And those are measures online that any brand or designer can find within simple marketing tools. After that, then you decide, oh, shall I go and work with other entities or create my own?
All right, I can't afford creating my own. And now I've got to integrate or incorporate with one of the e-commerce platforms out there. Do I go with someone like Saidati? Do I go to futurenoon.com? Do I go to Souk? Do I go Facebook Marketplace? Where do I go? Especially in the current state of the market. It's like everything's up in the air. This market's growing. It's rapidly changing. It's been one of the most exciting sectors in the region in the past few months. What would you tell me? What would this differ on? What should the factors what should I consider?
I don't think there is a right answer. So it depends on the product, and you need to match it with the right marketplace. This is at the beginning. So then you delve into if the marketplace can provide you an information about their daily traffic, monthly traffic, what kind of audience, if they have any visibility about their existing audiences, what are they buying mostly? So you need lots of information from the marketplaces in order to see if that marketplace is a good match for you, and then comes the proposal part and the monetary aspect. Is this profitable for me or not? Now this is in theory, and I think the best answer to everything is to test and see which marketplace is to provide you with the best ROIs for you to be able to see, okay, maybe it's not only one, maybe it's three, but then everyone has a different weight that you need to allocate specific budget based on the weight of ROI for each of the marketplaces. Like in short, there is an analysis that needs to be done before deciding, and there is no like Souk or Nemshi or as a right answer, I would say.
How important is brand identity when I'm incorporating within another platform as well, or within my own platform? How does our brand identity play a role? How important is it? I'd like to know more, like in terms of brand, in terms of photography of the products, the type of content, localizing to the regional market, to different, not just regional, because when people say regional, they think it's just Arabic, but what about the different markets we're also entering? Like Saudi Arabia is different probably from the UAE, which is different from Levant, different from Egypt. So can we also like briefly touch on that as well, like on the importance of content and brand identity as well?
I think content localization is key to success, to be honest, because, for example, in the UAE and Saudi Arabia combined, like 40% of the e-commerce transactions are done like cross-border. So actually, the audience is buying on Amazon, but in the US, or on any specialist website, but abroad, be it in Europe or in the US. So if you do offer the exact same image content as the US, but your price points are higher, what's the point, right? So you should give the audience and the consumer more, I would say, reviews, recommendation, content, experiences that are localized for them to be able to make their own decision and actually buy locally, because you will add value to whatever they will buy.
I would say that it's easier to work on content marketing to keep your brand identity. If you're a brand that are targeting young generation, for example, you need to provide that insights to any website you work with in order to be able to work on the content that targets your market. It also depends on what's special about that specific brand. When a brand has those answers to any marketplace like us, for example, it will be easier for us to establish content that keeps its credibility, reserve the brand identity, and whether it's videos or articles, it's easier when I have the information. If it's only a brand giving me photos and products and same without any specification, then possibly that brand will not be able to reflect its identity through us.
How does your content expertise play a role in this?
Well, it depends, because if it depends on the deal that we have with the brands and designers. If we are working with exclusive brands and designers, we our fashion editors that have been with the magazine and online for a long time, now part of their job is to work on content marketing for exclusive designers.
Must be very challenging.
It was at the beginning, but once we shared with them, their KPIs is different for e-commerce. The way they used to work, it was only an article doing a page view or a visit. Now it's different. Those content, it has to convert.
So is it clicks or?
It's convert on Sayyidati Mall.
Right.
Does that content make the conversion, that live stream on social media enable people to go and buy directly from it? So the content played, the KPIs for content and performance have moved to a new dimension when it comes to seeing how much money did we make out of that specific content. So with that, a learning experience is being made.
It's always like, I think everything we've been hearing about today, like this is the fourth session that I hear that we always like mention, like failure is it's okay to make a mistake. You gotta try, make a mistake, you learn from it, and you keep going. And I think that's been like a repeated lesson in this room today. So I think this is moving on with us in this panel as well. Just trial and error, and let's see how it goes. Then let's move into the type of audience we're talking about here in the region. Like you work a lot with UAE and KSA. What are the fundamental consumer behaviors that you've been seeing across like these two different markets? Let's start with that, like consumer behavior between UAE and KSA.
So what we see from our side is that if we compare UAE to KSA, we see that UAE people tend to buy more from e-commerce in general. They tend to have higher, they tend to pay more in credit cards and online payments as opposed to cash on delivery, again, with respect to Saudi. The rate of returned products are less comparatively to Saudi. Also, they tend to know very well about e-commerce, buying on e-commerce channels, and they tend to know the products each platform is selling. So you tend to see the average basket value is lower than KSA, however, the retention rates are higher.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this, but I'm going to do some like shameless promotion over here. We've worked as ArabNet. We've worked on an e-commerce report last year that we published late last year. It's available out here. You guys can grab it. And the information you're sharing like really aligns with what we've also shared in those. Because what we did in that report is we interviewed 13 key players across the market. And we've had this discussion with them. And UAE seems to be the highest when it comes to credit card payment compared to the rest of the market, lowest in return, and there was another one as well. And like they were more educated, like they're more aware and more informed when it comes to online shopping. So glad to know that, and glad I got to fit in some promotion, like shameless promotion over there.
Anytime.
Maybe it's useful to say that in KSA, data is not that accurate.
Okay.
So you will find someone buying and mentioning she's putting a different identity in her account. It's a husband or a brother or someone, but it's not her. The age is never accurate. The location, sometimes they put a location, and then when the call center calls them, it's a different location because they don't want to put it online. There is a certain culture in KSA that we can see directly. It's totally different than UAE. UAE, they're more precise. The information is mostly accurate. There is no hidden information in the data that we collect about the consumers.
So there's more trustworthiness on them.
Yes, and there's more, they're more encouraged to put that information online. But in KSA, you see a name called Falh al-Falah. It's not Falh al-Falah, it's someone else. She signs and the signature is something else, she's someone else. And she will hide everything about her because it's personal. It's more personal in KSA to share information than it is on e-commerce. We heard about this on Facebook as well because you know that people Facebook, in KSA, they don't put their current location. So the information as we get as a publishing number of KSA users, it's not very accurate on KSA because some of them are showing as males, but they are really females. We can see that on e-commerce as well on Sayyidati Mall.
But when we're talking about UAE and how the different, is it local and expats, or is it the same throughout? Is it
Local
consistent?
and expats.
Local and expats.
Yeah, with Saudi, because we're a Saudi company in particular, we can see more purchases, especially high-end brands within Saudis as a percentage. Saudi nationalities, they buy more from Sayyidati Mall than other
Markets.
Yeah.
I see you shaking your head over there.
No, I can just, I would say, validate what Mansour was saying. Anyway, like think about like the market size by itself. Saudi, we are looking at more or less like 22 million persons online. UAE is 9 million, okay? So size is 2 times lower, even more, like 2.5. Then when it comes to the audience by itself in Saudi, obviously it's dominated by Saudi people, whereas here, look at the room, we are all expats. So at some point, like we've traveled, we've lived in other places, so we are used to e-commerce because e-commerce entered like other countries way before we actually arrived in the UAE. So that's already something we got used to and we were used to. Back to the conversion rate by itself, what I see across like many different clients and industries, yes, it's normal. Most of the time, conversion rate in Saudi is going to be 2 times lower than UAE. But then what happens in Saudi, Saudi tend to basically go up to the last step of the purchase funnel, but they drop off whenever they need to enter their credit card or payment details. And what happens if you want to crack the market, the Saudi market, is you need to have like a really good, I would say, customer service and some like customer service and support over the phone, because they are a bit reluctant to enter their details by themselves on the platform, but they are way more okay for someone to enter their details, I would say, on the back end of the CRM system to have them basically the sale is happening after a while, but they are not willing to enter their credit card details or even like personalized details by themselves. So closing the loop, it's important to have either a WhatsApp. We've seen brands using WhatsApp in Saudi, and it's highly performing. It's actually like doubling the number of sales that they can see on their website by itself, or call centers. Or we do also recommend more and more the usage of, I would say, website live support or bots. So customer service is at the key if you want to crack the Saudi market.
What if we add like cash on delivery as an option, or what if we also do like some marketing initiative, or like, I don't know, you get X and Y if you enter the data and you order online and pay online. Is that something that would support? Is that something that would get more like higher conversions from Saudi?
Yeah, I think this is valid not only in Saudi but in UAE as well. So if you want to like basically push e-commerce, because that will drive business growth for your business, you need to give an extra incentives for the people to actually buy online. Because most of the time what we do see as well is people tend to browse kind of web showroom online, but they do not transact online yet. They will make the final transaction offline. So it's important, if you want to keep on driving that business growth coming from your e-commerce platform, to give that extra incentives to push them to buy online.
So from what I've been gathering so far, we've already discussed, or like we've highlighted some of the pain points that e-commerce players have been facing. One is credit card versus cash. Another that we've mentioned earlier was, hold on a second, why am I a bit confused? There was something else we did identify earlier in terms of shipping, I think it was, cross-border shipping, or, so is that like one of the other pain points e-commerce players? What are the main e-commerce players should like, what should they consider as pain points when they get started? Yep.
I would suggest that e-commerce player, you need to think about what is my existence right now, where do I exist on social media, online, on search, on websites, and then based on it decide on how am I going to establish my e-commerce identity.
No, when I'm talking, I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt you, but in terms of pain points, I mean, it's like the
challenges.
problems and the challenges that e-commerce players tend to face.
The challenges we have, I'll admit, in KSA, it's the logistics and shipping, especially that a lot of sales is happening from areas that is not
Within the country or cross-border?
within cross-border, within the country.
Within the country.
Yes. The second thing, as a marketplace, because we have 100% virtual market, we don't hold stock with us.
Okay.
The challenge we had is that the sellers or the designers updating their stock and information regularly within their taking it seriously, or they are launching without having any team to manage their stock online. So as a brand, I go to e-commerce marketplace without having any anticipation on what work do I need to do in order to update my stock. So eventually a customer with us will be unsatisfied because they bought something that the brand forgot to update in their stock.
All right. I'm trying to negotiate a couple more minutes here. So I'm going to jump into, you mentioned bots. I want to talk about, just really briefly and quickly, thank you, some of the trends that we're seeing enter the market, like digital media trends. What do you think are the top 3 trends we're going to see? Whether it's, and I want like AI, AR, VR, bots. What do you think are the next 3 trends we're going to be seeing in this space right now?
So number one, it's going to be like, I would say, real-time content personalization. So the minute like a user you already know will land on your website or mobile app, that content will have to be like personalized for him, because you have so much information about him, and he will like basically reward you if you basically talking to him in a kind of one-on-one communication. So that's one. Number 2, I would say, is obviously, as you mentioned, the bots, so artificial intelligence. So people would expect to have some kind of personal shopper, because, I mean, if you think about it, everyone likes to have to be considered as a VIP and to have his personal shopper, to support him.
And Alexa has been introducing something like that now. So that's another one that's like a big hot topic right now. Excellent.
And number 3, it's all about the experience as well, because what we see as a common mistake is people tend to focus like on the transactional part of the e-commerce. So it's all about like the sales and the revenue, last click on that specific day, but they should have a more holistic point of view, think about like long-term, a customer lifetime value, and give them an experience on top of a product they are selling. Because now if we are like 100% in the room, not all of us are actually in market. We might be out of market as we speak, because I already have a cell phone and I don't need to change it as we speak, but in 6 months from now, I will need to change my cell phone. And in that case, if a brand engages earlier in that purchase life cycle, you will be sure like you are in the consideration set always on for that consumer. So I would say engage and interact with the consumer no matter where they are on the purchase life cycle.
Mansour, any last one-sentence sort of thing, advice to anybody, any brand who wants to join the e-commerce platform?
So my advice is understand your existing business, understand your customers, try to understand where they are, where do they spend their time, and target them there. Going back to the stats, if you are an offline, if you are a brick and mortar store, your low-hanging fruits are your existing customers that are coming to the store and that are influenced heavily by digital media. Then start planning your online presence gradually, starting with already existing marketplaces. Do it smartly. Try your best to get as much insights as possible. Produce a minimal viable product. Start testing, and then learn and iterate.
Excellent. I don't think we even have time left for Q&A, so my advice to you is, as they walk off the stage, hijack them, kidnap them, ask them whatever you want to ask before they run off. All right? Thank you very much. I want to thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us today.